Welcome to Preeminent Test Prep. Today I'll be taking you through the Math No Calculator section of SAT Practice Test 10. I'll be moving quickly and efficiently through this section to give you an idea of how you can improve your speed while maintaining your accuracy on the SAT Math No Calculator section. So make sure to subscribe and let's go ahead and get started with question 1. What value of z satisfies the equation above? Alright, well, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and subtract 2z from each side. That way I can isolate z on one side with my constant on the other. Z minus 2z gives me negative z is equal to 1, which tells me that z then will equal negative 1. So my answer will be B. Question 2. A television with a price of $300 is to be purchased with an initial payment of $60 and weekly payments of $30. Which of the following equations can be used to find the number of weekly payments, W, required to complete the purchase, assuming there are no taxes or fees? Well, my total amount that I have to pay is $300. I know that I pay $60 as an initial payment, and I also pay $30 per week. So that's going to be 300 is equal to 30 W plus 60, which is answer choice C. Alright, question 3. The table above shows shipping charges for an online retailer that sells sporting goods. There's a linear relationship between the shipping charge and the weight of the merchandise. Which function can be used to determine the total shipping charge f of x in dollars for an order with a merchandise weight of x pounds? Well, if I look here, I know that I run 5, my x increases by 5, and I see that my y then increases by $4.95. So when I divide 4.95 by 5, I will get 0.99x as my slope, so y will equal 0.99x, but I also need my y-intercept, so I'll have to go back that 4.95, since going back from 5 brings me to 0, and I see that that'll get me plus 11.99, so my answer there will be B. Alright, question 4. The line in the xy plane above represents the relationship between height h of x in feet and the base diameter x in feet for cylindrical Doric columns in ancient Greek architecture. How much greater is the height of a Doric column that has a base diameter of 5 than the height of a Doric column that has a base diameter of 2? Well, we see our base diameter is on our x-axis, so we're looking for the difference between x as 5 and x at 2. We see that at 5 we have 35 and at 2 we have 14. 35 minus 14 will give me 21, so my answer then will be C, 21 feet. Alright, question 5. If x is greater than 0, which of the following is equivalent to the given expression? Well, when I see that root and I have 9 under it, I know that 9 can be rewritten as 3 squared, so I'll have root 3 squared x squared. My 3 will come out and so will my x. I'll be left with 3x, so my answer there will be A. Question 6. What are all the values of x that satisfy the equation above? I'm going to multiply each side by x minus 1. X minus 1. Negative 2 times x will give me negative 2x, and then negative 2 times negative 1 will give me positive 2. And that will all equal that x squared minus 1. Now I'm going to go ahead and get it all on one side. So I'm going to get x squared. I'm going to add 2x to each side. And then I'm going to minus 2 from each side. Negative 1 minus 2 will give me negative 3. Set it equal to 0. Now I can go ahead and factor out. I see that I'm going to have x plus 3 times x minus 1. So then I know that my answers then will be x are equal to negative 3 and x can equal 1. But I have to go and check that back in because as we see we have a asymptote in our denominator, right? If we plug in 1, we get 1 minus 1, which is 0. Anything divided by 0 will equal 0, not negative 2. So I know that 1 will not work, which means my answer then has to be A, negative 3. Question 7. The graph of f of x is shown in the xy plane. What is the value of f of 0? F of 0 is where x equals 0. I see my y value at x equals 0 is 4, so my answer is going to be D. Question 8. In the figure above, point B lies on AD. What is the value of 3x? Well, I see I have a 90-degree angle here, and I see that 90 degrees is equal to 5x. So 90 degrees is equal to 5x. I divide each side by 5. I get x is equal to 90 over 5. I know that 90 over 5 is equal to 18 because 18 times 5 equals 90. So I know x is equal to 18. I'm asked for the value of 3x though. 3 times 18, that is going to give me 54. So my answer there is going to be C. Alright, question 9. Which of the following is an equation of line L in the xy plane above? Alright, well I see that my y-intercept is negative 4. So I can go ahead and get rid of B and D. Now my slope I see is negative 1 because I go down 1 and over 1. So my slope when I'm in standard form like this, it's going to be negative A over B, where A is x and B is y. So my slope I know is negative 1, so I have to have that negative x over y. So I look for an equation that has x plus y, because then I'm going to have that negative x over y. Y is going to be positive, so that right there will give me my answer as C. Alright, question 10. The graph of y equals 2x squared plus 10x plus 12 is shown. If the graph crosses the y-axis at point 0k, what is the value of k? Well, if I'm plugging in 0 for x, this is going to be 0, and so is this going to be 0. So I see y will equal 12, which means that k will equal 12. So my answer is D. Question 11. A circle in the xy plane has center 5, 7 and radius 2. Which of the following is an equation of the circle? Alright, radius 2, I know that I'm going to equal my radius squared, so I need 2 squared, that's going to equal 4, so I can get rid of C and D. Alright, I also know that I'm going to have my x minus my h squared, where h is 5, that x point in my center. So I need to have x minus 5 squared, so my answer is going to be A. Alright, question 12. In the figure above, triangle ABC is similar to DEF. What's the value of cosine E? Alright, well I know that cosine E is going to equal my cosine B, since they're similar triangles. I know that cosine is adjacent over the hypotenuse. I see my adjacent is 12 and my hypotenuse is 13, so my answer is going to be 12 over 13, which is answer choice B. Alright, question 13. In the xy plane, the graph of the function f of x is equal to x squared plus 5x plus 4 has two x-intercepts. What is the distance between the x-intercepts? Well, if I factor this out, I see I'm going to have x plus 4 times x plus 1, which gives me my intercepts as x equals -4 and x equals -1. The distance between those is 3, so my answer is going to be C. Question 14. What are all values of x that satisfy the given equation? I only have 2 here, so I'm going to plug them in because that's going to be faster than finding them. So I'm going to go ahead and use 1. So I have 4 times 1 and square rooted, that's going to be square root 4, which is 2. Now, does 2 equal 1 minus 3? It does not, because 1 minus 3 is -2. Those don't equal, therefore 1 is not a solution. I can get rid of anything with 1. Now I plug in 2. It has 9. 9 times 4 is 36. The square root of 36 is 6. And does that equal 9 minus 3? Yes, it does. 6 equals 6, so my answer is going to be 2 only, which is choice B. Question 15. In the system of equations above, A is a constant. For which of the following values of A does the system have no solutions? Alright, well, we're going to have no solutions where our slopes are equivalent, right? So I know that my slope in standard form is -A over B. If I plug in my A value, my A is -3, so -3 gives me +3 over my B value, which is Y. And that has to equal my A, right? My -A, because that's my slope, -A over B. So that has to equal my -A over 2y. I multiply each side by 2y to isolate my -A. Alright, so I do that. I see my y's are going to cancel here, and I'll be left with 6 equals -A. Therefore, A will have to equal -6. So my answer is going to be A. Alright, question 16. A manufacturer shipped units of a certain product to 2 locations. The equation above shows the total shipping cost T in dollars for shipping C units to the closer location and shipping F units to the farther location. If the total shipping cost was $47,000 and 3,000 units were shipped to the farther location, how many units were shipped to the closer location? So we're solving for C here. We know we have 3,000 times this 12 here. So we got 3,000 times 12. That's going to give me 36,000, and that's equal to 47,000. Right? So I got 5C plus this 36,000 equals 47,000. So I'm going to subtract my 36,000, and I'm going to get 11,000 has to go to that closer location. So that's going to be equal to 5C. I divide each side by 5. And I know that C then has to equal 2,200. I know that because 5 times 2,000 gives me to 10,000, and then 5 times 200 gets me another 1,000 on top of that to get to that 11,000. So my answer there is going to be 2,200. Question 17. If A and B are the solutions to the equation above, what is the value of A minus B? Alright, so what I do for an absolute value equation is I set it equal to that -5 to solve, right? To solve for each solution. So now I'm going to go ahead and subtract 1 from each side. When I subtract 1 from each side, I'm going to get 2x equals 4 and equals -6. So now I'm going to go ahead and divide each side by 2, and I see that x will equal -3, and it will also equal 2. So I'm just going to pick one. I'll pick A as -3, so I'll have -3 minus 2 in absolute value. That's going to be -5, but it's absolute value, so my answer then will be 5. Alright, now I've got question 18. Juan purchased an antique that had a value of $200 at the time of purchase. Each year, the value of the antique is estimated to increase 10% over its value the previous year. So we've got 200, and we're increasing by 10%, which would be 1.1 each year, which is going to be raised to the power of t. The estimated value of the antique in dollars 2 years after the purchase can be represented by the equation 200a, where a is a constant. What's the value of a? Well, that's just going to be 1.1 squared is going to be my value of a. So now I got to solve for that. I do 1.1 times 1.1. I do 1 times 1, 1 times 1, put the 0 here, put it in there. I get 1, and then I get 2, so I get 1.21 as my value for a. Right, 1.21. That'll be times 200 to get me my value. So my answer is 1.21 for the value of a. Based on the system of equations above, what is the value of 5x plus 5y? I see if I add these two, I'm going to get 5x plus 5y equals 2,500. Therefore, 5x plus 5y is equal to 2,500. Question 20, if u plus t equals 5 and u minus t equals 2, what is the value of u minus t? Well, I was just told u minus t is 2. And then u squared minus t squared, that's the difference of perfect squares. So that's going to be my u plus t times my u minus t. So I can go ahead and plug in 5 times 2 there. And I'll be left with 2 times 10, which is equal to 20. So my answer will be 20. Thank you for watching Preeminent Test Prep. Make sure to subscribe, like, and share as we will be releasing more videos to help you prepare for the SAT.